Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Indigenous Climate Resilience Network meeting. Um, we'll wait maybe 2 more minutes for people to trickle in. So grab a cup of coffee or some tea, and we'll get started shortly. All right, we'll get started. Thank you all for joining us today. Happy fall. The equinox is almost here, so it's almost fall, but I can feel it in the air, so I'm very excited about that. Um, Before we get into the main event today, we do have a few updates for you all. So the first one is our Shifting Season Summit. If you're not aware, we are hosting this in 2 weeks. So if you have time on your calendar, come visit us in Menominee. It'll be September 30th to October 4th. And you can find all the information, including how to register, at our website. Just go to iscrn.us/shifting seasons for all those details. We also wanted to share a new funding opportunity. So this is through the Midwest CASC, and it's for small research projects. So the idea for this is to provide funding for collaborative research, and the projects should advance tribal climate adaptation issues or concerns. The projects also must have team members from the Midwest CASC Consortium, which does include folks like College of Menominee Nation and Glyphwick, among others. The funding does go up to $15,000, and it's a rolling deadline. So if you're interested, we'll send these slides out after the call, once the recording's done. But we do have an informational webinar tomorrow. So we wanted to make sure this was on your radar if you are interested. Another funding opportunity we wanted to make sure was on your radar as well, if it's not already, is the BIA Tribal Climate Resilience Annual Awards Program. So solicitation is open for FY24. The deadline is October 18th, so just a month away, and it provides funding to federally recognized tribes and tribal organizations to build climate resilience capacity. Allie and I are the tribal liaisons for the Midwest region, and so for those tribes who are applying for this, we are able to help with your look over your proposals, answer any questions, as well as connect you to our regional coordinator as well. And so all this information will be sent out shortly. The last update we wanted to share is for those who are in the Great Lakes region. If you're farther away, you're more than welcome to join. But we will be having a grant writing workshop for tribal climate adaptation, December 3rd to the 5th. And so these will be 3 full days, with Monday and Friday for travel. The Ho-Chunk Nation graciously is hosting this, and the main audience for this will be tribal technical staff in the Midwest region, but if you're tribal technical staff outside, you're more than welcome to come as well. We do have travel support, so just get in contact with us and let us know. And lastly, our next quarterly meeting, and the last one for the year, will be December 17th at 1 p.m. Central Time, so mark your calendars. And with that, I am so excited to introduce today's speaker. Our speaker today is coming all the way across the ocean. Her name is Máret, and she's the project lead and coordinator for the climate impacts on terrestrial ecosystems with the Sami Council. And I'll let her introduce herself some more, but I am so excited for this, and I understand it's very late by her as well. So we're really honored to have her with us today.
Well, thank you. And thank you for the invitation to speak at your meeting. I'm going to talk about the CITE project that I am coordinating right now. So I will share some slides with you. Hold on. Okay. What do you see now? Do you see my PowerPoint?
Nothing yet.
Nothing yet. Okay.
Oh, yep, there we go.
Okay. So, the CITE project, climate change impacts on terrestrial ecosystems, is what the main focus is on today, but I'm going to put you all in the context and also talk about the Sami Council and where we're at in the world. So I'm Máret, Kristina Laura Sara Johanna Máret. I grew up in Gårdegate, where I'm at right now. So I'm a PhD student from Sami, Northern Norway, and studying at the Sami University of Applied Sciences. My mother language is Sami, and that is also our working language, also in the Sami Council and throughout the village where I live in, Gårdegate. Working at the Sami Council at the moment, and the CITE project is a collaboration with AMAP, which is one of the working groups of Arctic Council. And it's a project where we co-produced an online platform for the Sami reindeer herders to register their observations of environmental change and also how it affects their daily life as a reindeer herder. So the herders have been participating in the project from the start and all the way throughout testing the tool, designing the tool, testing the tool, and evaluating the tool now the last couple of months. Yep. So we're in Norway. Here, where Norway goes into Finland, that's where I'm situated right now. Here up to the right, you see all the indigenous people of the Arctic. And the Samis would be in the 4 countries, Norway, Sweden, Finland, and western parts of Russia. So the Sami Council serves all these 4 countries. It's a non-governmental organization. Of course, now our ties with Russia is complicated at the moment, but hopefully it'll become better after some time. The Sami Council was established in 1956, so it's an old or an organization with long traditions in advocating for Sami rights. And we work with many issues like human rights, environmental protection, political advocacy, and so on. And of course, hold on. We want to make sure that the Sami communities have control over their own affairs and they can preserve their language and tradition and have a saying in things that affect their livelihoods. And then, like this project, the CITE project, we work with international forums like the Arctic Council and European Union, and other indigenous groups worldwide like ICC. We have post-ICC. And I understood that we'll have this talk first, and then if you have any questions, then we'll have it in the end of the talk. Unless you can also put the questions in the chat. Okay. So the Sami Council, it's a non-governmental organization with members from the 4 countries, as I mentioned, established in 1956. I already talked about this. And we meet with member organizations twice a year. And of course, report our what we've done so far, and talk about our goals and missions ahead. The structure. So we're 15 members appointed by the Sami Conference, and we gather twice a year, like I said. So we have our president and the 2 vice presidents from each country. So it's very important. This is we don't have any borders, although the maps have borders, but traditionally the Sami people have lived and moved in the northern part of Scandinavia without borders. But in the 17th century, the borders came, and then we came people of 4 countries. But of course, we don't feel the borders, if you understand. We are like a borderless people. So we in the Sami Council try to erase the borders and work and advocate for the whole Sami. So here is our president in the middle, and then our vice presidents from each country. So this is Sami, and our member organizations are these. I'm not going to go through all of them, but they work collectively to achieve the Council of Missions and goals. So every 4th year we have a big conference where we admit new member organizations. So we are divided in 4 units, and the CITE project is under the Arctic and environmental unit. And we have the human rights unit that works with Sami rights nationally and internationally, and particularly in relation to land and resource use, language rights, and self-determination. And then we have the environmental unit that protects the traditional lands, which are heavily affected by climate change, industrial development, and mining. We are involved in international climate negotiations and sustainable efforts. And then you have cultural unit, protects and develops the Sami language, art, and cultural traditions. They have festivals and conferences and language revitalization programs. And then the EU unit that works with the EU, European Union, to make sure that the Sami rights are also taken into consideration. So we are very engaged with impacts of climate change on Arctic and Sami livelihoods. And we have several projects that with this theme, and CITE is one of them. So especially Arctic and environmental unit is the voice of the civil Sami society in the Arctic Council and in the UN environmental conventions and other international fora, where we address the challenges facing the Sami culture and provide solutions we believe the Sami culture and our knowledge can offer. So founded in 2002 and funded by the ministries in the 3 countries, Norway, Sweden, and Finland. And our head is Gunn-Britt Vetter. So we're 5 employees in 2024. So we don't have one base. We have all our people are living in Sami in the 3 countries at the moment. So we're like nomadic offices or home offices. So we also created a climate report that is worth reading. It's about how the climate change affects the Sami people. I can also put a link to it in the chat. So the main objective is to promote Sami interests and perspectives through cooperation in the Arctic Council, contribute to the voices of indigenous peoples being heard, and our perspectives taken into account in the environmental work being done in the UN system, serve the political body of the Sami Council as well as the Sami Conference with up-to-date information and research fact sheets, serve the Sami civil society. So, the Sami reindeer herding, which the CITE project is working with. So the Sami reindeer herding is very important for culture, employment, and economy for the whole of Sami. It's organized differently in the 4 countries. This project we have members from Norway, Sweden, and Finland. So it has a great importance for the Sami people, the language, and the livelihood. So here in this map, you see the different districts. Each of these districts is where one family has their reindeer. And it has, we have 8 seasons in our calendar, and the reindeer is moving throughout these 8 seasons to different places within these borders you see here. So usually, if we have the Norwegian reindeer herding here, you have the summer pastures at the coast and the winter pastures in inland. And then you have the summer fall pastures, the fall winter pastures, the winter, so 8 seasons, and they all have different areas where they have these pastures. So one, it's called Hætta, one herding district, and it consists of a family and also the extended family, and also other people that help out throughout the year. And of course, the reindeer herding needs big areas to be able to traditionally herd the way they've done for generations. And with climate change and competing land use, they face a lot of challenges to do this traditional way of reindeer herding. So here you see our challenges is windmills, mines, hydropower for land use, and tourism for land use, competing land use. And climate change will have the weather's different now. You have milder winters, you have sometimes rain on ice, which locks the grazing pastures for reindeer. So many challenges. So that's why this CITE project was needed for the reindeer herders to have a place where they can monitor and put their observations to see how these things affect their everyday life. So of course, if we change the reindeer herding from the traditional way of migrating to become more maybe like ranch style, where you have to keep the reindeer fenced in, and you have to feed them all year. Of course, a lot of the tradition that's been passed down through generations will disappear. The words, the language, the people's identities is changing. So it affects the several layers in people's lives, the challenges and this change we are seeing now. So the reindeer herding now, it is modernized. Before, people used more skis and they drove the reindeer. But now it's more efficient with using motor vehicles, drones, so it's modernized. GPSs to manage the herd. So now it is still a blend of tradition and innovation. And that is also needed for coping with the changes in the environment. Yep, so our project aims to create the digital tool for the herding communities to document the herders' observations and experiences related to observed changes on their land. And it also aims to improve decision-making about the biodiversity and ecosystem services that Sami reindeer herders depend upon for sustaining the traditional livelihoods. And of course, enhance social learning and local adaptation to climate and environmental change. So it's been going on since 2019. And we're at the end of the project now, at the end of this year. So it was a follow-up to the AMAP assessment report on snow, water, ice, and permafrost in the Arctic in 2017, where they see how the climate change is affecting or changing the precipitation patterns, snow cover, winter rain on snow events, and how it affects the terrestrial ecosystems. And how these changes have implications for the Sami communities and communities elsewhere. And of course, the reindeer herding that depend on the forage under the snow traditionally. And of course, one of the aims is to make Sami herders' traditional knowledge of biodiversity and environmental change visible through a digital platform. And the method of this project, like I said, it was co-production. So we wanted to have the reindeer herders with us from the whole time. And we define co-production as a more than knowledge creation. It's an innovative, adaptable process that fosters social learning, builds networks between participants. It mitigates power imbalances between disciplines and knowledge systems, and preserves the integrity of each individual knowledge system. So we think that with doing this, it becomes more relevant for the indigenous communities. And like I said, from day one, the herders were with us, designing and planning this project. So our the different phases of the project. It started with the pilot project in 2019, where we identified the participants and talked with them and had monthly meetings to get to know them, and they could get to know the researchers participating, and also to hear what they need. What is the wish of the reindeer herders? So throughout these meetings, they lasted for a couple of months. We created a 4-year plan for the main project. Which is what we've done the last 3 years, 4 years with the digital tool. So we co-designed digital tool in the main project, identified knowledge gaps, and made national, international partnerships. And we partner with the meteorological institutes in the 3 Nordic countries to try to create the climate services more relevant for the reindeer herders, so they can plan better ahead for how they're going to herd, where they're going to herd, and what kind of strategies to use as a reaction to the different weathers coming. And of course, if there's a crisis like rain on ice coming in January, they can better plan ahead for that, like buying extra food or moving the reindeer to a place where they can get through the snow and find food. So we also, throughout this main project, we had the test phase. Okay, it should be test phase of this tool. We created it through an already existing tool called Maptionary. I'll talk more about it later. And we had monthly meetings while they were testing. We had 9 reindeer herders testing it in Norway, Sweden, and Denmark, Norway, Sweden, and Finland. They were reindeer herders with different kinds of ways of doing reindeer herding. It was moving from coast to inland. It's reindeer herders that are in a forest throughout the year, or a reindeer herder that's around a lake all year. So different kinds of environments they work in, and with different kinds of effects of climate change. We had workshops, and also we just recently finished a workshop where we evaluated the tool. And this tool, and also we're going to create a story map where we tell with the results of this tool, where we tell the story about each of these reindeer herders and what kind of challenges they face. Yes, and we've just evaluated this tool, and we found out that it doesn't really meet their needs. So that will be like the result of this project, and but there is a wish to have this kind of tool, but the special one that we tested out was not the right one. So the continuation of this project is that we are designing an app based on the experiences from the test phase. So that will be the digital tool, but it will be the app. So we're looking for funding to be able to do this innovation. So of course, trust and a good relationship has been very crucial for this project, and we've seen now in the latest workshop, we've seen how important that is, and how that you have the same group of people participating in one project for a long time, how successful that is in terms of creating, sharing openly and creating new knowledge. So our tool is Maptionary. It's an already existing survey tool that we designed for our needs. And you see here in this map, we have people putting in observations in different areas of Sami. And this tool had different tick boxes you can click off on if it was climate change affecting pastures, if it was land use, new species coming up to Sami, and if it has a positive or negative effect on the herding, and also weather observations, no observations. It was a lot of things they could put in there. So we got some feedback that it was maybe a little bit too complicated, because these people are up in the mountains often in snowy weather and cold weather, and they need to have a tool that is easy to use. But we got some observations here. You see the map here of some of the observations they're putting. Yes. So I think this project was very successful in terms of the co-production part, the method that we used, and I'm hoping that other projects will look at this method that we used and maybe try to do the same way. It was interesting to see how and work with the researchers this way, where they were not in charge, but the reindeer herders were in charge of what to do and how to do things. And I also noticed the frustration of the researchers sometimes of not being in charge. So that was interesting. And also this project also made the reindeer herders knowledge and experiences visible. That is very much useful in climate change mitigation and land use planning in areas where we have reindeer herding. Yeah, and then we also have better understanding of the reindeer herding from the different countries, as it is organized differently, and many of these reindeer herders, they move across borders. Like they come from one where they organize the reindeer herding one way to another way. So this project really opened up for this partnership across borders. That was helpful. And of course, the reindeer herders are safeguarding the land against many you call it against the competing land use. I mean, if we wouldn't have the reindeer herding in these areas, I don't know how and what way this land look like. So it's an important thing that they have a say in this matter. Yep. So a lot of experiences are made throughout this process and lessons learned. So of course, like I said, trust is very important. Ongoing communication. Although we are in different time schedules, the reindeer herders are out there working day and night, and we're at the office. But still, communication is very, very important. And also the knowledge and the cultural competency from all participants, both ways. The researchers need to know about the reindeer herders, and also reindeer herders about the researchers and the way they think, in order to work together in a group and project like this. And of course, the very importance of funding to fund the participants from the beginning, and also have them included from the start, to create an ownership to the project. Yep. So like I said, we are now just finishing up with just writing the reports, and the next phase will be create this app where the reindeer herders can continue to put in their observations, and also to create it in a way that it's more like a diary, where they can look back and learn from their own experiences and strategies of herding reindeer as a response to climate change, and then bring it ahead forward to create new strategies, how to herd and sustainably do the reindeer herding, and also to show the world that what land use is needed, and how important it is to have different kinds of lands as a response to the climate change, and the weather scenarios that are so different from before. So, yep, that was it for now, and thank you. So if you want to know more about this project, here is my contact information. And also the AMAP contact information. Yeah, so if you have any questions, I guess we open up for that.
Thank you so much for your presentation. We did have one question in the chat from Mike. He was wondering what the herd populations are.
Like how many reindeer in a herd?
I think so, yeah.
So traditionally, you should never ask someone how big is your herd. That is like asking how much money do you have in your bank account. So they vary. They could be up to 1,000, and they're all different. It depends on, like you saw in the map. I can try to go back and just show here. So here are the inside of this are the district. So you have your reindeer herd is the size of this district, about how much land you have where you can herd. So they vary. And some areas you have big summer pastures, and then you can have a lot more reindeer than others. So it depends on the geography of your pasture land. Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? Mike also apologizes for asking.
It's okay.
We have one from Marcy. What were initial steps that were helpful when building trust with herders and seeking to give them ownership over the project?
It is wait and listen and be patient. And of course, to know the language and the culture. That was very important. But it was just to be very patient and listen. And of course, a lot of things, a lot of wishes that they had is not possible to create a project on, because a lot of the climate change is affecting these people so much that it's challenging their livelihood. A lot of people are questioning if they can do this in the future. So it's really emotional, many things. And you want to have answers to this, and if you can, next year, if it will give you enough money to live. So many of the ideas they had were not possible really to create a project on. But you have to listen and talk to people and understand also that where they come from. Yeah. And of course,
Sorry. Oh, go ahead.
No.
There was 2 more questions right now. Are there any wild herds of reindeer?
Yes, in the south of Norway, there's wild reindeers. All over this orange area, orange lines here. They call it semi-domesticated reindeer, so they're not really tame, but they're herded. They're used to people, and they corral them about 4 or 5 times a year. But in the mountains, all the way in the south of Norway, you have wild herds.
We have a question from Jennifer. She's wondering if we can do a whole other session to deep dive into the story map.
We are creating it is a really interesting thing to do, and I could show it to you. I mean, if you're interested in after Christmas, I think after next year, then we're done with it. Or I can just send you the link, and you can see it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be really excited to see that later too. Allie put in a question that was also my question actually too. What is it like to live and work across international borders for 4 countries in this area, and does it present any challenges?
It does present a lot of challenges because this understanding it's only the Sami people that have this understanding that we are a borderless people. And you have different political organization in the different countries. And of course you have the physical borders. So we have like 4, but we're used to it. It's been since 1959 that we work like this. So we're used to working like this. And for us, we don't, I mean, it's Sápmi. It's not Finnish, Sweden, or it's Sápmi. So if you meet another Sami person, you just hear in what direction or what the area of Sápmi they come from, and that's it. You're not thinking of what country they come from. So it has a lot of challenges, but we have a very good infrastructure in the Sami Council to work across these challenges.
And then on the flip side, because you're working across for different countries? Are there a lot of positive things too that come from that?
Yeah, the funding. We get funding from four. We can apply for funding for from 4 different countries or three. It's very complicated with Russia at the moment, which is very sad. We don't know what's going on there, and we don't know how our Sami friends there are doing. Um, so, yeah, we get funding from 3 countries. Yeah. Mhm.
From Allie, she asks, what are you most excited about for this project?
I'm really excited about being part of the co-production process. That's also my PhD. It's about this method, and I've learned so much working with the herders and really deep knowledge they have about the environment and also how to respond to the different weather different weathers coming. So, and also I worked a lot with researchers, but it's very interesting to work with normal people, if I can say it that way. Yeah, and also be able to work together in a group and connect researchers and reindeer herders, and also try to make from different cultures. Researchers from we have researcher from Germany, from Sweden, also someone that is half Sami, half Norwegian, and also create a common understanding of what we are talking both ways. Also the researcher and make that knowledge also understandable for the ranger. So that dynamic has been very interesting.
And then I had a question about if youth are involved in this project.
Well, we have our youngest reindeer herder is 25, and our oldest, and then they're all from 25 to the oldest is 50, about 50. So that's the youngest person we have. But we have a lot of Sami Council works for have many projects with young people participating. So that is a very important thing for the Sami Council to teach young people to advocate for Sami rights and to include young people. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Are there any more questions? There are a lot of people who would like your story map too, once it's released.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
I had it ready, but it's not quite ready.
yeah, so when it is ready, if you wanted to send it our way, and then we can share it out with our network.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, final question.
Yeah.
Could you share more about the herders' responses to participating in the project?
They really want to participate. That's been a very easy thing to find people that want to participate and to keep them engaged. It's been really surprisingly easy. But of course, they are on a different time frame, and they don't have computers, and they don't check their emails daily like we do. So it's the correspondence is challenging, and how many emails to send, and how often to contact. So these things have been challenging. And I found out that just pick up your phone and call them. That is the absolute easiest thing to do. But they have the will, and they know, and they feel an ownership of this project and the importance of telling the world really their challenges. So especially when so they have more power. So the written word has more power than the traditional knowledge that they have. So they understand that their knowledge has to come out in the world in this way that the world understands. Yeah. So, but I think also when I speak their language and know the culture, I think that's also been a ticket in this.
Well, thank you so much. If we could give another virtual round of applause. That was such a great presentation. Um, so we will share this recording with everybody when that gets finished, along with the slides from earlier and links to the Sami Council and to this project. We will keep you updated when we hear back about the story map. And thank you all so much for joining us today.